Hello everyone, and welcome to another Top 5 Records video, and another big one. Because I was thinking, after doing a full discography review series in which I take a closer look at the individual albums, it might be nice to have one video in which I rank all these albums. Especially interesting because I've just listened to these albums chronologically. So that's what I'm gonna do now, and I'm gonna start off with the Rolling Stones. I'm gonna do a full ranking of their British discography. So I'm gonna kick it off with the number 24 on this list. Out of their 24 albums, this is the one I enjoy least. Dirty Work. What is going on here? Is it a bad album? I'm not fully convinced it's a bad album, but it's the most mediocre of the mediocre work the Rolling Stones had ever done. This lacks their identity. What were they thinking? What was going on? Harlem Shuffle. Perhaps that might be a nice song, but overall, listening to this, I just felt ear fatigue. So, number 24, Rolling Stones, Dirty Work. On the number 23, Undercover. Yeah, I was having a moment of doubt there. No. This should be at number 23. Undercover. I mean, they're lost. During the 80s, the Rolling Stones had some, Mick Jagger and Keith Richards had some problems with each other, and on a lot of those records, you just don't hear them collaborating. You just hear that they're not getting through to the soul and the identity of the band. They're struggling with 80s pop, not just in a musical element, but you can also see it in images. I mean, if you take a look at this album cover and this album cover, man, I mean, they never become a bad band. They never become a bad band. There's never a moment that you really feel like, oh, they should be ashamed of themselves, but they are not in their best shape here on Undercover. On number 23. Here we have number 22. And I quite like this album. A Bigger Bang. I do not have it on CD. The vinyl is, I believe, Abbey Road has Speed Mastered. I stay away from those vinyls as far as possible because I've had very little experience in them being actually good sounding records. I'm not sure if the original is also Abbey Road has Speed Mastered, but it's very expensive. And this CD sounds good. I'm not a CD guy. It sounds good. It really was an interesting moment when this record came out. I was very conscious when it came out. I went to see this tour twice, and this album has a lot of rather good moments. There are some great songs here. The Rolling Stones are getting back on track and on fire. On number 22, A Bigger Bang. On number 21, the Rolling Stones, Voodoo Lounge. Now, they're still not on the level as one might hope they were, but there is some element of thrill going on here. There is a new energy. They're not writing them hit songs, but the sound is interesting. The band is, you feel the event of a Stones album coming out on this record, on this CD. And the identity of the Stones is present again. And that is sheer thrilling and exciting. It's really exciting. Voodoo Lounge on number 21. And we're going to the number 20. And this is the last CD I have here. Number 20. Rolling Stones, Bridges to Babylon. Now, Bridges to Babylon. I really got into this one. I'm always a bit reluctant in the CD era because a record might easily go on for too long. I don't like the idea that between 30 and 40 minutes has become between 50 and 60 minutes as an industry norm. And I really think a lot of artists have overstepped their boundaries with some CDs. This one, you know what? Bridges to Babylon, it's got a nice, cool, it's an enjoyable record, and I think it's a record they should really be proud of. On the number 20, Bridges to Babylon. And no more CDs from now on. On the number 19, what I have here is Rolling Stones' Steel Wheels. Now, this felt after the dryness of the mid to second half, mid 80s. This felt like they were finally getting back together, like they have found their edge, like they were really on a roll again, like there was the rock and roll album back. This, to me, listening to it chronologically, felt like the Rolling Stones were getting back. And I think this is an exciting album, especially seen at its moment in time, and the Rolling Stones getting back into their shape. On number 19, Steel Wheels. On number 18, yes, what am I going to say about this one? This is an interesting one. This is Emotional Rescue. Emotional Rescue, after the rush of Some Girls, is an, it is Rolling Stones in the 70s. It is the Rolling Stones in the 70s, and in the 70s they had their cool, late 70s, that Jagger was experimenting, and they were looking for a certain change, but the band was tight together. And although this does not have a lot of songs that stand out for me, no, not a lot really. It doesn't have hits, but it feels like a solid band when you listen to it. This is the vibe of this album is really nice. On 18, Emotional Rescue. Then on the number 17, this is a very interesting effort. It's a very interesting album. I should not use the word effort in this regard. I mean, it's much better than an effort. Tattoo You. Why did I just say the word effort? Well, because this album was actually made from demos, from leftovers, and they hired some very good musicians. I believe Sonny Rollins is on this album. I'm going to check that. I believe they should put the name Sonny. It's Sonny Rollins. Sonny Rollins plays saxophone here. And they have a lot of interesting artists. And I believe it was an engineer or someone from the production company that said this album was put together because Jagger and Richards had a lot of problems. And it is really impressive what they got out of that. Really impressive, because they had some very good songs left over. Jagger was in good shape. This album has Start Me Up. What do you need more? This is a good album. On to number 17, Tattoo You. Then, on number 16, Blue and Lonesome. Blue and Lonesome. Man, was this an exciting moment when the Rolling Stones released this. Because now, in the success and the media attention that their latest album had, people often overlooked that there is such a record as Blue and Lonesome. They said that Hackney Diamonds was their first album in, 20 years or something like that? Obviously not. They released this, but it were blues songs, it were cover songs. But this is the album that got them back to their roots, and to hear them on this age doing these songs, getting in touch with their musical roots, I really liked the sound of it. And I really liked the way the harmonica of Mick Jagger was sounding. He's a good harmonica player, man. Blue and Lonesome on the number 16. Now, I'm getting to number 15. And this is thus far the oldest album in the list. Out of Our Heads. Now, why on 15? First of all, I love the furious sound of the Rolling Stones in the 60s. There is a young energy that is just so inviting, so exciting, so challenging. But of all their 60s albums, this is the one I rated the lowest. And that has a very simple reason. the Stones are trying to encounter the world of soul on this album. You have songs like Good Times by Sam Cooke. And the thing is, Mick Jagger can do a convincing white blues. There's a certain roughness and rawness in there. But when you are challenging the likes of Sam Cooke, just around the time when he just did these songs himself, then you are facing the limitations of the character and identity of your voice. I mean, Sam Cooke is one of the greatest vocalists alive, and more songs have that have that element in which you notice, it's tough to cover Chuck Berry, man. It's tough to cover that. So, obviously, I love this album. I like it. I enjoy it. But why not higher? Try to challenge these soul voices. It is tough. On 15, out of our heads. On 14. I'm still in doubt about a couple of numbers, but we'll get to that later. On number 14, Black and Blue. Man, I enjoy this album. I really enjoy this album. And I'm gonna switch it. Sorry about it. Yeah, no, I just had it out. I'm gonna put it a bit higher. I looked at the track list. I thought, nah, I've been enjoying this way too much to put it on 14. What I'm gonna put on 14 right now is this one. I love it as well, though. It's only rock and roll, and I like it. Awesome album. I was talking about It's Only Rock and Roll, and I liked it in another video recently about David Bowie and how Diamond Dogs and It's Only Rock and Roll basically somewhat... Some people say Bowie stole it from the Stones, but It's Only Rock and Roll was based on a jam session in which David Bowie did the backing vocals. So they took the same basis and they both made different songs out of it. It's Only Rock and Roll is a good rock and roll album. Good 70s rock and roll album. Really enjoyable. On number 14. Then on number 13. Yeah. Goat's Head Soup. Goat's Head Soup. In my video about Goat's Head Soup, I was kind of, hesitating to give it too much credit. And that had to do with the sound quality of the pressing. I had a German pressing. After I had the German pressing, I recently found First US. And I believe this is one with Sterling in stampers. I believe it's Sterling mastered. It is Presswell. No, it's not even Sterling. It's just a Presswell. I'm going to check the other side. Yeah, this is not a Sterling mastered album, but it is an American pressing. Now, this album, to me, came to live in my head after hearing it in an American pressing. It sounds so much more full. It sounds so much more challenging. The groove is so much more there. And it just showed me that with the right pressing, this album is a very nice knock on the head. Goat's Head Soup having an awesome song like Angie. Man, this is good stuff. On the number 13. 13 for Goat's Head Soup. I'm refigurating because I just did the switch. On number 12, another 60s album. Man, do I love this? Yeah, I love it. Their Satanic Majesties Request. They are experimenting. Are they succeeding in their experiment? It's obvious that they heard Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, but to call it a Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band ripoff would not be fair, if only for the fact that they are way more into psychedelica, and Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band was more inspired by a carnival theme, a circus theme. There are elements of psychedelia there, but there are more here. And I mean, this record starts with "Sing This Song All Together." I mean, it's such a good song. And then you have "She's a Rainbow." "She's a Rainbow" is one of the best Rolling Stones songs. 2,000 Light Years from Home. This is an often underrated album, and I think that is because of the Sgt. Pepper's shadow hanging over it. Nevertheless, man, it's an awesome album. On the number 12, there's Satanic, Majesties, Request. Then we're going to number 11, and on 11 I've put now Black and Blue. Oh, this is such a good album. After my first video I did on it, it was the first time I listened to it in the full discography review. I put it on again. I played it with a friend of mine, and this is a nice first US pressing. And there are some songs, man. Side 1 is good. Side 1 is good. Side 2 with Hey Negrita, Melody, Fool the Cry, and Crazy Mama. Man, they are smoking it. This sounds like such a great recording session. The sound is so good. They're having so much fun. They are really challenging what they are all about, and but in a very, very fun way. And when the Rolling Stones get together and get to the core of what they enjoy, the music they like to make, and they have this, I'm not gonna give about any other the rest of the world, then they are in their nicest shape, and that is what Black and Blue is. I'm enjoying this more and more. On the number 11, Black and Blue. And we're entering top 10 territory right now. Here I have it. Number 2. Number 2. Awesome album. Awesome album. Take a look at the track list. It opens with Everybody Needs Somebody to Love. Down Home Girl. You Can't Catch Me. Time Is on My Side. What a smoker of a song. Smoker of a song. What a Shame. Grown Up Wrong. Down the Road a Piece. Under the Boardwalk. I Can't Be Satisfied. Pain in My Heart. Off the Hook. Off the Hook is a good song. And then Susie Q. Oh, Susie Q. I love you, my Susie Q. They are so nice, and it's not slick. It's rough and rhythm and blues, and there's an edge to it. They're smoking it at number 2. Love this album. On the number 10. On the number 9. Number 9. Some Girls. And Some Girls has also been growing on me since the video I did for the full discography series. Not only because a friend of mine found an orange Dutch pressing, which sounds amazing, but now I also recently found a Sterling Mastered first UK. So what I'm going to do in the near future is I'm going to do a comparison with the Dutch orange one, the first UK, and I'm going to try to hunt down the first US. So the moment I have a first US, I'm going to do a comparison video on the best sounding version of this album. But man, the songs on here. Miss You. Ooh, ooh, I will miss you. And When the Whip Comes Down, Beast of Burden, and the subtlety on one hand, and the emotional explosion on the other hand on Mick Jagger's voice on Beast of Burden. Damn! This is good. This is good. Some Girls on number 9. Yeah, great album. Can't wait to put it on again. Number 9. This might be a surprise to some, because there are some Rolling Stones fans who say they did nothing spectacular or special here. And I just disagree. I think this is an album we should all embrace and be delighted that it happened. And I play it regularly since its release. On number 8, Hackney Diamonds. I've done some videos on this album. You can watch them. But in short, Angry. Good song. Get Close. Depending on You. Bite My Head Off. You bite my head off. Close to Metal. Whole Wide World. Dreamy Skies. Messed Up. Live by the Sword. Driving Me Too Hard. Tell Me Straight. Sweet Sounds of Heaven. I mean, that is one of the best Rolling Stones songs ever. Sweet Sounds of Heaven. The duet with Lady Gaga is just incredible. And then it ended up with Rolling Stone Blues. I so really hope that they are going to tour that out of this album. If they're gonna do a tour, I'm gonna buy tickets and I'm just gonna review the tour in a video immediately straight out of the coming from that show, because I really want to see them perform these songs live, and these songs in particular, because I think this is their best album since Exile on Main Street. I think well this is a ranking video, so it's obvious. But I mean, I love Some Girls. It's a great album. It's a very, very good album. But Hackney Diamonds, man, I really hope that the people who are negative or think, just another Stones album, and a lot of Stones fans even do that, give this another chance. This is going to be one of the great Rolling Stones albums in the future. The songwriting, the energy on the recording, it is just too good to say just another Stones album. No, they have really found themselves in the most beautiful, brilliant shape and form, and that is Hackney Diamonds. Really, it's a masterpiece. Yeah, it's a masterpiece. Really a masterpiece. On number 8. Number 7, another 60s album. Between the Buttons. Between the Buttons is growing on me. I think this might be their most British album. Last weekend I was in London and I was in some beautiful, typical bar ordering a pint, and they had Yesterday's Papers. Who wants Yesterday's Papers? I think this is an album in which they sound less raw and challenging, and it's sort of like they are wandering through the Kinks' We Are the Village Green Preservation Society territory. Now there are of course songs that are a bit more that have a little bit more roughness there, but overall I think the element of nice song, nice short, very British songs gives this album its attitude. I think it is really good and really something to cherish. Now, I recently found a first UK mono. Supposedly I shouldn't have found that because the stereos are better, but I'll do a mono versus stereo on that one soon. I was disappointed with regard to this, with how this sounded with regard to the 2015 mono reissue. I believe it's 2015 from the box set. So not necessarily convincing on that regard, but that's pressing wise. This album, it really grows on me. I love it. On the number 7, Between the Buttons. I have to put the records in the right corner so they don't fall or slip. Here on number 6, their debut album, their first album. Man, this is good. This is really great. Kicking off with Route 66. I Just Want to Make Love to You by Willie Dixon. But then done by the Stones, obviously. Now I've Got a Witness, Little by Little. I'm a King Bee. Great song. Carol, cover of Chuck Berry. Tell Me You're Coming Back, written by Keith Richards and Mick Jagger, which is already a very good song, and it stands among some of the best covers imaginable. I mean, they were already really good. Now, ending this album off with Walking the Dog. When I did my video on this album, I already mentioned Walking the Dog. And what I mentioned was that Brian Jones' backing vocal on that song just gives it so much more punch and edge. It's almost, metal might be a big word, but he has this bravura, this conviction, and I can't by the life of me understand why they haven't done that more often. And just whenever I hear it, this weekend I was in London, again in a bar. I was having dinner, and then they put on "Walking the Dog." Walking the Dog. If you don't know how to do it, I so much love the sound of that voice. The moment I was in a conversation, it was just the conversation said, "Sorry, they're playing Walking the Dog." This is full focus on that song, and it wasn't raised in a very heavy volume. It's just end of conversation. Walking the Dog. This is my song. This is such a great song on an awesome album. I love it. On number 6. On the number 6. Now we're getting to the big 5. More big guns, because with the Rolling Stones, the big guns start with the top 15 already. Here we have it. Number 5, Beggars Banquet. Beggars Banquet, same story as I had with a lot of the other albums. Ever since I did the review video on this one, I found a first UK stereo. And man, the pure, furious sound in these grooves is beyond recognition. It's so good. Beyond recognition. It's not beyond recognition. It's beyond. Nothing goes above it. Let's put it like that. Sympathy for the Devil. The sound of that guitar solo. The timing of Keith Richards. It's just as if he's forgetting, and then just before it's too late, he hits the notes and then loses himself in the notes. Like I want to do this, and he hangs in the notes, and then he continues. And it's so amazing. It's such an incredible solo. It's such an incredible song. The entire album, ending it off with Soul of the Earth. It's magnificent. On number 5, Beggars Banquet. And what a quality recording. Number 4, Aftermath. Awesome album. Look at the songs they start writing. This is the beginning of the identity of the Stones in their own words and chords and melodies. Starting off with Mother's Little Helper, Stupid Girl, Lady Jane, Under My Thumb. First 4 songs. It's incredible. They have an 11-minute song here, Going Home. I'm going home. Out of Time. These are classics. These are single classics. Aftermath. As a matter of fact, I just recorded a video in which I'm challenging the question, should you listen to this on mono or stereo? I'll release it in a couple of weeks, because I have a schedule with the mono and stereo videos. So if you want to find out, listen to the mono or the stereo version, follow this channel and you'll find out what my conclusion is after listening to a first mono and a first stereo. Then, number 3. With any other band, this should have been on the number 1 position. But this isn't any other band, this is the Rolling Stones. Exile on Main Street. Now, this is 2 records of magic. 2 records of magic. The sound of these sessions. I really, really love it. As a matter of fact, I just did a video on a comparison in which I compared a first UK version with a first US and a first French pressing. It was recorded in France and it had the artisan stampers. And coincidentally, after that, I got into a discussion online with Michael Fremmer on his channel. You can see it in the responses about the sound quality of this recording, because he thinks this is a beautifully recorded album. I also think it's a good recorded rock album, but it's not typically good recorded. I think it has to do with the way the soul was captured. So some food for thought or discussion on sound quality. Nevertheless, on number 3, Exile on Main Street. Love it. Then, number 2. Sticky Fingers. Sticky Fingers. What can I say about this album? It is just really magnificent. And the magic begins just holding the artwork. You know, the artwork. Andy Warhol's masterpiece, I think that is. And then the way the record gets out of there, and this record's just starting off with Brown Sugar, then Sway, then Wild Horses. Came and knocking, you gotta move. That's just, I mean, that's just great song after great song after great song. Then side 2, Bitch, I Got the Blues. Sister Morphine, that's a masterpiece of songwriting. Dead Flowers and Moonlight Mile. I mean, this is an incredible album. I also did a video on the best sounding version of it and why it's so tough. So if you're interested in finding another copy of this album or a good copy, please be very careful with finding or buying the reissues, because I'm not really positive about them, but there are beautiful solutions if you want to listen to this in full quality. On number 2, Sticky Fingers. And then the number 1 spot, Let It Bleed. I mean, Let It Bleed. The track listing on the back is incorrect. So I'm getting the mono out of here, but the mono is not the best sounding version. I also have a stereo one, which I really prefer. The right order of songs on Let It Bleed. It starts off with Gimme Shelter. Then you have Love and Fame. Gimme Shelter. Wasn't it Mick Jagger who made a joke about Gimme Shelter during the press conference of the concert film Martin Scorsese did? He said, I believe this is the first Martin Scorsese film without Gimme Shelter in there, which is a very funny joke because, I mean, he has 3 or 4 films in which he uses Gimme Shelter, and every time that song just is powerful and impressive. Then you have Love in Vain, Country Hunk, Live With Me, Let It Bleed, the song. It's so good. Other Side, I'm really in love with this album. Midnight Rambler, talking about the Midnight Rambler. You Got the Silver, great song. Monkey Man, and ending an album off with You Can't Always Get What You Want. I mean, listening to this is pure heaven. It's incredible. And thinking about the time when I encountered this album just really makes me happy. It just makes me happy. Because it was so special to listen to these gorgeous songs and the way it shapes. So, just as a conclusion, here I have some of all of the Rolling Stones albums I did in this video. I hope you enjoyed the ranking of them. Please let me know what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What would be your order? And if you want to know about comparisons on these albums, standalone reviews, you can all find them in my channel. So I'm curious. Let me know what you think. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye!